Hey Twilight fans, this is my chapter 1 overview of the book Twilight. Well, in the beginning, it explains why she's leaving. Phil is a minor league baseball player and her mom really likes to be with him when he plays, but she has to stay home because Bella's not 18 yet, so she has to stay home and take care of Bella, which Bella, she says, usually takes care of herself most of the time anyway, and she acts more like the adult, so kind of doesn't make sense there. But then she leaves, she gets on a plane, flies to Forks, meets her dad, and her and her dad just have this awkward relationship. Like, her and her mom, Rennie, they're more close together, but her and Charlie are a lot alike, and they're just awkward, and they don't share a lot of things with each other. And then, while driving to Forks, Charlie tells her that he bought her a truck. She seems kind of excited about it, but she doesn't really show it. And then when they talk about the weather, and then they just are silent the rest of the way. But she notices that it's really green out there, and it kind of seems like an alien planet, she describes. And then she gets into the house, she goes, unpacks her bags, she just sits there and she starts to shed a tear, and she stops and she waits until night, and then she doesn't really have a good night's sleep. But she gets up in the morning, she goes into her truck, and she notices when she turns on her truck, it revs really loud, and it's just something weird she notices. And then when she gets to school, she has to go into the office, and they give her a slip that she wants all their teachers to sign. So she goes and heads to her first period, and in her first period she meets this kid Eric, who kind of over helpful, she says, and so he walks her to her next class. And then in Spanish and Czech, she meets a girl named Jessica, who at lunch they walk into the cafeteria together and they get food together. And then she hangs out with Jessica's friends, and Eric's at the table, and yeah. And then when she's at the table, she notices these 5 people sitting alone at their own little table, like they're distant from everyone else. She asks Jessica who they are, and Jessica says they're Jasper and Rosalie Hell, and then there's Emmett, Alice, and Edward Collin, and she says they're all adopted by Dr. Collin and his wife, which moved to this small town. And then Jessica tells her that they're like all together except for Edward. He's like the last one out. And then she looks over at Edward and she sees them like make eye contact, and this is like her first time, her and Edward's like first time like noticing each other. And then she walks to class with one of Jessica's friends. They walk in, and Jessica's friend goes to sit down. She walks up to the teacher and gets to get her paper signed, and the only seat left in class is next to Edward, so she has to go sit next to him. And when she goes to sit next to him, he gets really rigid, and as she say, rigid, hostile, and furious. And she looks over and she notices his eyes are coal black, and then he never relaxes the whole period. And when the bell rings, he leaves very quickly, like runs out of the classroom. And she just wonders why he has this like hostile look at her, and she's just sitting there questioning if she did anything to him. And then this guy Mike, who hung out with her at lunch, comes up to her and introduces himself, and they walk to gym together. And he asks her why Edward was acting so weird, because he never acted like that before, and she just seems like it's her fault, and she just wants to go off and go cry. And then after gym, she goes into the office to go give the lady back that paper, and Edward's in there trying to get out of biology, and she doesn't know why he's doing this, why he doesn't like her, for not even meeting her. And when he goes to head out of the room, he glares at her with this like evil glare that she just feels like threatened by. Then she gives the paper to the lady. She goes head back into her truck, and on the way home she's fighting her tears because she's kind of mad, but then she's kind of sad about everything that's happened today. Well, that's my overview of Twilight. I hope you liked it. Now I'm in